So this lesson's pretty much the same as the previous lesson, except this time we're looking at the converse for each postulate and theorem that we mentioned before. So converse is just when you switch the order that is being said. And sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. For all of the alternate interior, same side interior, alternate exterior, whatever corresponding angles, all of those are true. So if you switch the order that you said it, rather than starting with the lines being parallel and then all those angles are equal or supplementary, you switch the order. So now we start with knowing what types of angles they are, same side interior, alternate interior, whatever, and if they are equal or supplementary. And if both of those cases are true, then the lines will be parallel. So same side interior angles are supplementary. If that's true, then the lines are parallel. For alternate interior angles, if they are congruent like they're supposed to be, then the lines are parallel. If corresponding angles are congruent like they're supposed to be, then the lines are parallel. So we're just using it backwards to prove that lines are parallel. So given the angles shown, and then this little diagram up here, we're going to explain why the lines are parallel. So if this little diagram, the 60 and the 20, you could slide that in here, so that means that angle 1 is 120 degrees. And the same little parallelogram we could slide in over here, which means angle 2 is 120 degrees. Angle 1 and angle 2 are alternate interior. And they are equal, they are congruent. They are congruent, which means the lines are parallel. Same idea, if we slide this parallelogram down here into the shaded portion, this would be 60 degrees, this would be 120 degrees, and then we're trying to relate 1 and 2. Those are same side interior. And then 120 plus 60, that equals 180. So they are supplementary like they're supposed to. Like they're supposed to be. So same side interior angles are supplementary. Since they are supplementary, that means the lines are parallel. So if you're constructing parallel lines, you need your compass. Now the first thing you're going to do, before you even use your compass, you're going to draw a line, because our parallel line needs to go through P. So we're going to make our line that goes through P, but we're not going to try to make it parallel yet. We're just going to draw the transversal. It has to go through P, and it has to also cross the other line. You could draw that any way you want. You could draw it the way I did right here. You could also have it go the complete opposite direction. As long as it passes through P and then crosses the line, it doesn't matter which way you draw. I'd like them to go that way. So this said, pick 2 points in column Q and R and draw PQ. So here's Q, so that we drew PQ. Then we see another point R. or right there. So the idea is that we're going to copy this angle PQR. If we copy that angle, which we did in framework 1, if we copy the angle so that this angle is congruent to angle PQR, then the lines will be parallel because those are corresponding angles, and therefore, since corresponding angles are congruent, the lines have to be parallel. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to copy this angle PQR and put it up here on point P. So to copy an angle, you put your compass on the vertex of the angle, and you make a little arc. And you, without messing up or adjusting your compass at all, you move your compass up to point P. And we're going to make that exact same arc. Then you use your compass to measure how big that arc is. So you adjust your compass so that you measure the exact length from where it intersected the angle that we're trying to copy. Adjust your compass if you need to make it be that exact measurement. And then we're going to do the same thing up here. We're going to move our point up to the top and just make our little X so that we have copied the angle. All we need now is to draw the straight line that goes from P through that little X we just created. Since we copied the angles right here are the same, which means corresponding angles are congruent, which means the lines are parallel. So we can do the exact same process again. Draw a line however you want. It just has to go through P and through L. And get your compass. We're going to copy an angle. So stretch it whichever distance you want to make a mark. Make your arc right there. And do the exact same thing from point P without adjusting your compass. Make the exact same arc. Then measure that opening and do the exact same thing from the other arc that you made. And then you just have to go through point P and through that little X we just created with our compass. And then the lines are parallel. So this is my favorite way to do it. It's the way I prefer to do it. There are other ways that you can construct parallel lines. You can do, if you're trying to make a parallel line, you can take your compass and you can make 3 of the exact same circle, or I'll just do half a circle actually. And then it's kind of tough, but if you go straight across the tops of all of these circles, then it will be a parallel line. Kind of a tricky construction, so that's why it's not my favorite, but you can do 3 circles, and if you just make the line just barely touch it, then they will be parallel. There's another way you can do it where you have your line and then use your compass to make a perpendicular line. So you can start with a circle or just an arc even. And then stretch it more than halfway across so that we can draw the perpendicular bisector for that segment. And we do the same thing from the other side. To make a perpendicular bisector. And then you just have to do another perpendicular bisector up here, because if you make 2 perpendicular lines, then all of the lines will be parallel. Or the 2 lines will be parallel. So you do it again. You get another perpendicular bisector right here. And if that's perpendicular, then the 2 original lines will be parallel. One thing you cannot do for construction, trying to make parallel lines, you cannot use your protractor to measure an angle. That's not a construction. You can't measure stuff, then it's not a construction. So if you use your protractor and say this is 53 degrees and this is 53 degrees, although that's true, that will work to be that they're parallel, it's not a construction.